I'm with John Sweetman. He's the principal of Malyon Theological College here in Brisbane. John, thank you for talking with us today.
Okay.
Just a few questions about a pretty hot topic, discipleship. If we could start with a personal question, what works for you with your own progress in being a follower of Jesus?
I'm a very organised, disciplined type person, so I've just recently taken 7 years to summarise the whole of the Bible. So getting into Scripture and working out what it says, it's not quite as good as the Message version, but you know, I've had a go at it anyway, and just covering the whole sorts of thing. So that kind of thing, that would be boring for a lot of people, but for me, I find that very helpful. Haven't been very good at prayer, but I've been working on journaling a little bit more in my prayers, and I've found that reasonably helpful. Mentoring relationships, I've had a number of mentors over the years, but now it's really down to one main mentor, which is my brother, Peter, and we meet every couple of weeks for a couple of hours together, mainly talking about ministry, a little bit about personal life, but mainly about, we're both senior leaders in Christian situations, so he encourages and strengthens, and we talk about issues of where we're going and what we're trying to do and all of that, and I find that personally really, really helpful and encouraging. And then I think for me at this stage of my life, I'm pretty old, is leading with others. Like, I've got really good leaders around me, and so we're kind of honing each other, challenging each other, encouraging, having vision and direction together. And I find, you know, the stage I'm at in my own personal work with God, that very encouraging and helpful as well. So there's a couple of things I think that have been particularly helpful for me.
Thank you. You're not only a disciple, you're also someone who has an interest in making disciples. What are the signs for you that you're getting somewhere with a person, that you're trying to help them to make progress as a follower of Jesus? So what are some of the qualities that you like to see developing in people?
To me, probably one of the first ones is a humility, like a really desire for growth. I come from a perspective on leadership that thinks that sort of grace is the foundation, and with grace comes a humility that it's God and not me, and so that desire just to grow and develop, and the humility that's required to do that. So I look for a developing humility, along with, of course, a passion and heart and fire and all the rest, but that I think is important. I look for a shepherd heart, so that's the heart for others, so there's a growing heart developing to influence, to make a difference, to serve, to lay down my life for others. So I look for that. Intimacy with God, of course, do you know what I mean? So you're looking for growing intimacy, a growing understanding of who God is and what he does and what he's saying, and ability to listen to that. And I guess for me, perhaps coming from theological college, I'm biased a little bit, but a knowledge of the word, you know, a growing understanding. I believe that all ministry comes around ministry of the word, so the word is foundational and all of that. So I look to see, not that I have to know everything, I don't know everything, do you know what I mean? But a growing desire and understanding of Scripture, I think, is important as well.
Yep. So what makes it hard? I mean, we'd love to see people growing in their discipleship, but it doesn't always flow easily. Yeah. What are the things within the human soul and the things in our culture that make it quite difficult?
Yeah. I think our culture makes it very, very difficult. I think our culture promises so much, offers ultimately very little, as Ecclesiastes says, but it offers so much, and so there's constantly demands on us, you know, to achieve and to do things, and temptations, and I think they've become more and more invasive, you know. So one of the questions that I'm grappling with is, what does revival look like in our kind of culture? You know, I understand what it looks like where people are together all the time and are kind of a bit protected from the world, but our world invades the very centre of our lives all the time with all its messages and promises, and I think that makes discipleship more difficult for people, you know, to get in the space to really hear what God's saying and know what God's saying is quite difficult. Along with that, I think it's the pressures of life. Do you know what I mean? So there's so many demands. People are so busy. They're trying to do so many things. And so for me, and I think for everyone, part of discipleship is having time with God, time with others, and that sort of thing. And I think that's become increasingly difficult. Again, perhaps I'm biased, but I think that the scriptures are not highly valued in many places and in many churches, and we don't get a message to really get into the scripture. Now, I know perhaps more Reformed churches that is a message, but many of our churches it's not a message, and we have plenty of people come to college and they know nothing about the Bible, you know. So I think not a strong valuing of scripture and what it says, and a desire to understand that and read it and all the rest. And I think again, perhaps it's the society's pressure, but just the lack of relationships. Do you know what I mean? As Roberta Heston says, you know, life, things change, people change as life touches life. You know, and so to have time in the busyness of what we're doing, to have life touching life, you know, which is an essential part of discipling and growth. And I think that's a major problem. I'm sure there's a million other things, but there's some of the things I think of.
In your role here as principal at Malyon, you have people who come here for ministry preparation. What are some of the things that you can bring to bear so that they don't just become educated, but they actually make progress in following Jesus?
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously the most obvious thing is understanding of the Word and love for the Word, I think. And I tell our faculty, preach as much as you like, like in lectures, like that's what we want, communicating the truth of the Word, but with a passion and a heart, you know. So I think, but more than that, we, you know, theology and history and Bible, all of those give people a wider understanding so that they can read the Scripture in context and all the rest. So I think that's obviously a contribution we make and that's very important to us. We're a fairly small college, so we have personal relationships with the students, we have mentoring groups, where a faculty and about 10 students meet together weekly. They read something often beforehand, or reflect on ministry, or have to journal beforehand, all of these sorts of things. So pushing students to integrate what they're doing, so the Word with ministry, with life experiences, all of those things, bringing those things together with a faculty member that can give some guidance and help in that. And so we really committed to those things. And I think we have the verse that sort of pushes us is Jeremiah 3:15, you know, which is God's promise that He's going to develop shepherds after His heart who will lead with wisdom and understanding. And so for us, that's what our passion's about. So shepherds, people that have a genuine concern and love for others and want to shepherd others and not just push them around to do the things they want. After God's heart, so at the heart of what we're doing is this godly heart, and we try to model that and live that and relate that to our students, a deep desire, a humble desire to serve God and obey God with knowledge and understanding. And so the whole thing of wisdom and knowledge, and which is part of what we're trying to teach. So we try to bring that together in what we're doing at the college.
John, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
All right.